It is my absolute honor to introduce our keynote speaker for this plenary session, a visionary leader, an investor, a policymaker, a change maker who wears many hats with purpose and precision. Mr. Mohandas Pai is the chairman of Arden Capital and 314 Capital and was formerly the chief financial officer of Infosys.
Folks, it's good to be here and talk about India. Let me give you some data about India so that all of us are on the same page. India is today a $4 trillion economy. In PPP terms, we are $17.9 trillion. China is the biggest economy with $39 trillion and the US $32 trillion. And India is $17.9 trillion. In 1991, when we opened up, our GDP was $275 billion. We've gone to $3.9 trillion by 2025 March, 8.11% a year in dollar terms for 34 years. Please do give an applause. GDP has grown from 5,32,000 crores, to those of us who know what is crores, to about 331 lakh crores in March 2025, which is about 12.2%, 12.11% a year in rupee terms. There's been huge growth ever since India opened. And to my friend here, I would say, we suffered for the first 40 years of India's freedom because of wrong policies by his very revered leader, Pandit Nehru. I respect Nehru for many things, but the misery that he caused by his bad policies, we are still paying for it in Kashmir, China, and the economy. In 1947, India was the largest economy in Asia. China was destroyed in the war, Southeast Asia destroyed in the war, and Japan was destroyed in the war. We had a manufacturing intact. 2.5 million Indians fought in the Second World War for the Allies. And in Asia, we are responsible for defeating the Japanese and pushing them back. Great Britain owed us 1.5 billion pounds for the war effort, and money was valuable those days. And then we brought in what is called socialism in the belief that a few set of people in Delhi knew how to rule a country of 330 million people. So at independence, white imperialists left us, brown imperialists took over, and the Indian people never felt any change. They were ruled by a ruling class in Delhi who thought they had the solution to India's ills and got us socialism. India was looted by the British. They took away $45 trillion of Indian money and wealth between 1757 to 1947. Read Utsa Patnaik's thesis on the loot of India, the drain of India. So India has been a very rich country. We are a poor people in a very, very rich country throughout our history, an old civilization which dominated the world with peace and prosperity and never conquered any other country. We must remember this. Because of bad policies between 1950 to 80, we grew at 3.5% a year, Asia at 6.5%, the world at 4.5%. We became poorer in 1980 compared to 1950. 80, we opened up, and we grew at 5.5% a year in real terms from in 80 to 90. And our foreign debt went from $20 billion to $80 billion during the time when we were broke in 91. And 91, when we opened up because we were broke, the magic started because the Indian entrepreneurs were liberated. We got our economic freedom back in 1991. And that economic freedom has made India what it is, a country with the fastest growth for any large country in the world. And India is the 5th largest industrial power in the world after China, United States, Germany, and Japan. In another 4 to 5 years, we'll be the 3rd largest industrial power in the world. In steel, we make 160 million tons, 2nd largest in the world. Cement, 445 million tons, 2nd largest in the world after China. We make 22 million two-wheelers, largest in the world. 5.2 million four-wheelers, 3rd largest in the world. And then we are the largest producer of spices, largest producer of sugar and cotton, alternating between the years. We make 335 million tons, grow 335 million tons of food grains, 2nd largest in the world. We have the largest quantum of arable land for any country in the world, 50% irrigated. We have 555 million bovines in the world, which wander all about, and they got fundamental rights under the Indian Constitution. The only thing they can't do is vote when they wander about the streets. It's an unbelievably rich country with poor people, and we are going to grow very, very fast. We export $235 billion of software. 60% of global outsourcing comes here. The market value of $235 billion is $500 billion because the rates in India are quite low. In software, we have 6 million people working in software exports, 1.5 million people in the local industry. That is 7.5 million people. Of the top 10 software service companies by market value globally, 5 are Indian. Of the top 5, 3 are Indian. Of the 3.2 million people working in the top 10, 2.3 million are Indians. Of the 1 million hired for software globally last year, 500,000 are Indians. The United States has 6 million people in software. 1 million are Indians working here. Out of the 6 million for export, 60% work for American companies. Out of 10 million working for American companies, 4 million are Indians. And India is what has been a force multiplier for the American technology industry for the very many years. And you folks know about it because you are the heart at it. We don't get credit. We are abused by the left in India and by many political leaders saying we don't create value. But we have created value. We created high-quality jobs in India, and we trained all of them. As HR director in Infosys in 5 years, I recruited 200,000 people and trained 250,000 people. We set up a center in Mysore, investing 2,000 crores, where we trained 35,000 young people in software with no understanding of software for 26 weeks. And we used to spend something like about $5,000 per head per year training them. The IT industry spends $3 billion training them, and that's fantastic. On top of that, we have a startup industry with the third largest in the world, 167,000 startups, 22,000 funded, 120 unicorns, the third largest in the world, and creating value of $600 billion. But we only got $160 billion of investment in 2014 to 24. China invested $845 billion, America $2.32 trillion. So we fight with the hands bound, with the feet bound, with not much of investment coming into the area, but we have done very well. We slogged the butts out, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we built this great country. And we built this great country so that young people could come to America, pay fees to their nose, and enrich America, and stay in America and become great entrepreneurs. Hopefully, all of you will become billionaires. And I want all of you to become billionaires. India has the third largest number of billionaires in the world after the United States and China, 257 billionaires. By 2030, we'll have 500 billionaires. And that is extraordinary. And we have created something called the India Stack over the last 15 years, a piece of public use software, and we gave the world what is called digital public infrastructure. We have Aadhaar, 1.3 billion people have a number, and they can transact. We have UPI, last month, 18.6 billion transactions, $309 billion transferred, 45% of digital payments globally is in India. We can transfer money on a mobile in 30 seconds from bank to account, bank to bank, not through wallets, by going through the formal check clearing system globally. And we got a very good financial system. We got about 130,000 bank branches. We got about $3.5 trillion of bank deposits, which is very small for a country of our size. $3.5 trillion of bank lending. Our stock market has the largest number of derivative transactions because a lot of people do day trading, night trading, whatever trading. They're bond traders. And we have a market capitalization of $5 trillion. And we must be the fourth or fifth largest. It keeps shifting all the time. And China's market value didn't grow for many years. The market grew from 8,500 index in 2014 to 8,500 index in 2024. But India has shown tremendous growth. In the entire stock market in the world, there's been only 2 countries which have given superior returns in the last 30 years, India and the United States. And every 5 years, the crown shifts. And my friend Saurabh Mukherjee will give you all the data about how value has been created. We got 5,500 companies listed in the stock exchange, and they're very good companies. We got very good corporate governance standards. There are some corporate failures, like it happened in the United States with Enron and all the nice companies. We do have our own stake too, but we don't have more, we don't have less, even though we get a bad press, because everybody thinks everything bad about India, everything is bad about India, because India has been worshipping poverty for many years, and India has yet to understand, like Mao said, power comes with the barrel of the gun and the almighty dollar. There are only 2 things the world respects: economic power and military power. And India has been a failure in both, but now India is growing. We are creating a lot of jobs. 16 million people enter the formal work system every year, because they have to open another account and they have to pay a subscription because something called the EPFO, and that gives data by gender, by age group, by state, 190 industry classifications for the last 75 months. And most people in Delhi sitting in JNU don't even look at data and bemoan the lack of employment. In the south, we have no people for employment. People come from the north to come because UP is now growing and it's very good, and we want UP to grow. Bihar is yet to grow. We get people from Jharkhand, West Bengal, which is a failed state, and Kerala, etc. They all come to Bangalore and the south to work, and we have a shortage of people. And India's population is growing at 0.8%. Fertility has come to 2.0, below replacement rate. Whole of the south is 1.6 to 1.7. And we have 1,020 women for 1,000 men. We have more women than men in India. And today, the good news, we have more girls in school than boys. Many of the boys are rowdy boys who come out of school. Out of 100 kids entering class 1, about 80 complete class 10. Don't believe the Pratham data. It's all wrong because based on rural schools, not the entire country, 80% of the 80 pass, that is 64, 56 enter class 11 and 12, and 28 go to college. So the age group of 18 to 23, only 28% go to college. We graduate more women graduates than men. I'll finish in 2-3 minutes, Doc. We graduate more women than men, and more women are coming out. And more women are coming out in UP, in his state, in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh. In the south, we are running out. And Annamalai, if you are here, just listen. By 2035, 26, Tamil Nadu's population will start shrinking in absolute numbers because you're not doing things which people should be doing well. And India's biggest problem is going to be aging. We got 130 million people above the age of 60 today. It'll go to 200 million people. India is aging very fast. India's fertility is down. Indian women are dominating. And Indian women are going great guns. 18 to 20% of board positions now are women. In the startup industry, maybe 15, 20% are women. You can ask Nitya here. Nitya is one of our greatest stars in the startup firmament. She's a venture capitalist. She's very famous all over India. And when Nitya walks into a room, everybody stands up and salutes her for accomplishment. A Harvard grad, a Stanford grad, and a very good spokesperson for India in venture and startups. And she is the face of what India can be. And Indian women are going to lead India to the future because Indian women are voting in more numbers than anybody else. Indian women are voting more. They're determining the future of India. They're entering politics. They're making India a great country. They're in education. They're getting jobs. Yes, only 26% of women in urban India are employed. That's because of many other reasons. We have to grow. We have to do many things. But we have come a long way. And I want to tell you, my friend, I like Prime Minister Modi for one important reason, among everything else. What Modi has done, no Prime Minister in India's history has done. Every Prime Minister in India has said, we must help the poor. We must remove poverty. Everybody had good program. They could not execute. Modi is the most successful person for a very important reason for me, because he tackled the biggest challenge my country has, the poverty and the deprivation of the Indian people. It is terrible to be poor. Poverty is a curse. Poverty is not a virtue. Don't make poverty glamorous. It's terrible to be poor. Every child in India should dream, and every child's dream should come true in education, in nurturing, in compassion, and children should be, invested in. That is what Rama Rajya is all about. And with Rama coming back, Bhagwan Shri Ram coming back to Ayodhya, we must work for a Rama Rajya where every Indian will realize the dream, and there'll be no poverty, there'll be no deprivation, and everybody gets the basic necessities of life. What Modi has done is to make sure every Indian gets a house, a roof over the head, water in the tap, power in the switch, a toilet in the house, a gas stove, a bank account, money in the bank, an internet connection, a mobile phone, food on the table, education for children, and health insurance. Once Indians get the necessities of life, they're not fighting for survival. They're fighting for growth. They're fighting for the children. They're fighting to realize the dream of the children. And that is the India that is happening today. So it's a very exciting time to be in India. And globally, India will be a major power. We are the 5th largest, we'll be the 3rd largest in another 2 or 3 years, overtaking Japan. But India is a power for peace. India is a global power for prosperity for everybody. India is a global power which believes that everybody has a right to this planet. Everybody has equal rights, and everybody has to do well. And we cannot shut everybody out. We have to work with everybody to have peace and prosperity. India will never be a hegemon. India will never dominate anything in this world politically. Indians will dominate. Indians will dominate globally. We have 50 million Indians at the diaspora. 50 million Indians. And every country Indians have gone, they enrich the local society. They worked very hard. They raised their children well. They pay their taxes. They participated in the global economy. And they built every country. They never have any fights. They never do any unnecessary activities. They live peacefully. So today, my message to all of you is, India is growing. Participate in India's growth. You don't have to come to India and participate. Don't patronize India. Please. We don't want any patronage. You should go to wherever you can live well and do well. All of you should aim to become billionaires. Make the world a better place, but become a billionaire. Realize your dream. And be proud Indians wherever you are. Be a global citizen. That's what our forefathers told us. We are citizens of this world. We are citizens of this globe. We should be proud of where we are. And if anybody is going against India using fake narratives, stand up against that. Push them back. Because India is a great country. It is the epitome of civilization. India is the only country in human civilization which sought to answer the most fundamental question a human being can have. Why are we born in this earth? What is the purpose of life? Because that's the biggest question anybody can ask ourselves, because life has mortality. We are born and we go. In the limited time on this planet, we try to have a good life, and that's what Indians have tried to do. So philosophy permeates us. Compassion permeates us. Culture permeates us. And we are not enthused by greater and greater acquisition. We are not enthused by wanting to dominate nature. We don't want to dominate nature. We believe culturally civilization is part of nature. We shall take from nature enough for our survival, but not for aggrandizement, not for power, not to destroy nature. We shall live with nature. Every creature of nature has a right to existence, and we shall live with peace and prosperity, and we must grow this country to make it a role model for the entire world. Thank you very much.